Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome once again to our YouTube channel, Mind Mastery Tutor. And just likewise, we're going to do this paper. It's called the top joint examinations. So for those who are doing this is a midterm exams, maybe it might help you for your end term exams. So yeah, so I thought why not just give you this type of papers. Now question 1. Okay, let's start. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And again, grade 9 students, I have my own tuition classes. I have tuition classes for grade 9 students from Thursday to Sunday, integrated science and maths. So again, don't hesitate to call me. Online classes, specifically online classes. Just teaching you this to do this way. I don't know why parents are very hesitant to take their children to online school, especially grade 9. And I think you can still learn when you're at home rather than going to this place to that place. Just much like the same. Now, section A, 20 marks. Again, don't forget to subscribe, and tuition classes are still open. Just contact me through this number. Now, question 1. A bag contains small containers. Fanny picked small containers with numbers 3, 7, 9, and 21 from the bag. Which of the following sets has prime numbers only? Now, the ones that have prime numbers are just 3 and 9. Is it? No. 3, a prime number. Remember first, a prime number. Okay, a prime number is a number that has only 2 factors only. So it can divide itself and only 1. So those are the only 2 factors. If you look at 3, 7, 9, and 21, the ones that have only 3 factors are 3 and 7, because 3 can be divided by 3 and 1 only, and 7 as well. 9 has 3 factors, can be divided by 3, can be divided by 9, can be divided by 1. For 21, 4 factors can be divided by 1 itself, 3 and 7. So the answers are 3 and 7. Question 2. Welfare group has 120 males, 180 females, and 25 leaders. The welfare groups were formed with equal numbers of males, females, and leaders. What is the largest number of groups formed? Right, so if you look at, if someone tells you what's the largest, now you just know it's GCD automatically. So you need to search for the GCD of 120, 180, and also the GCD for 24. Now there's a way for you to do it in terms of prime factors, or you can use the box method, which most of the students like to use it. I also prefer the box method, but we can write it in prime factors. So let's see, 120, you can divide it into 12 and 10, and then you have 4 and 3. Right, we have 4 and 3, 10 also, 2 and 5, 2 again, 2 and 2. So you can rewrite it as 2 squared times 3 times 5. It's not 2 squared, 2 cubed, by the way. 2 cubed times 3 times 5. So I'm teaching you the first way. So you draw the prime factor tree, and then you get something like this. So let me confirm, 2 cubed times 3 times 5. It gives me 120. So you do the same with 180. 180 can be branched into 18 and 10. 18 can be branched into 9 and 2. 10 also, 5 and 2. 9 can be branched into 3 and 3. So you have 2 squared, 2 2's. So these ones are the answers. So 2 squared times 3 squared times 5. So that's 180 for you. Now for 24, even easy. 24 can be 12 and 2, then 6 and 2, then 3 and 2. So we have 2 cubed. Just pick the factors, the prime factors only. Don't pick any number apart from the prime factors. So you have 2 cubed times 3. Okay. Now, if you want to calculate GCD, normally we look at groups. There are 3 groups. There's a group of 2's, there's a group of 3's, and there's a group of 5. But now, since 5 is not found here, is not found at 24, so we'll ignore that 5. Because it won't help us in finding the GCD. If the condition is that there should be 5's in all numbers. If there isn't in the third number, then we just leave the 5. So we just have 2s and 3s. Tuko na 2 na tuko na 3. Hiyo 5 kwa vile hakuna 5 kwa 24, tuachana na. So the GCD is equal to, now for the group of 2, you take the 2 with the smallest power, in which the smallest power is 2 squared. And then you take the 3, the groups of 3, you take the 3 with the smallest power, in which the smallest power is 3 power 1 or 3. So 2 squared is 4 times 3 is going to give you 12. That is the answer. So the answer is 12. Okay. Question 3. Question 3, the temperature of a deep freezer was 10 degrees Celsius. The deep was adjusted and the temperature was decreased by 25 degrees Celsius. What was the temperature of the deep freezer after it was adjusted? So if it decreased, it means originally it was 10. And then you decreased it. By decreasing means you subtract it. So you subtract it by 25, and 10 minus 25, since you have 10, you're going backwards by 25. You take 25 minus 10, obviously get 15. But now negative is on the largest number, and therefore your answer is negative 15. So again, 10 minus 25 is equal to negative 15 degrees Celsius, but 25 minus 10 is equal to plus 15. 10 minus 25, negative 15 degrees Celsius, and that is our answer. So most students usually ignore the negative part and they just tend to write only 15 degrees Celsius, which is very wrong. Okay, now grade 9 teacher had a card containing questions. This is the next question, containing questions on indices. Nyaboke picked up a card containing the equation 3 raised to power y divided by 3 raised to power 2 is equal to 3 power 3. What is the value of y in the equation? Now, tumesema katika indices, if you have different powers but same bases and there's division, you normally subtract the bases. You subtract the powers, sorry. So utachukua m minus n. So in our case, kuna division hapo. Kuna division kwa 3 power y divided by 3 power 2. So yeah, so kama kuna division and the bases are the same, zote ziko na 3, and therefore you subtract the power, you take y minus 2, which should be equal to 3 power 3. And there's also another condition. If you want to find the value of an unknown or unknown power, we normally equate the bases with the powers. If the bases are much likely the same, therefore we just equate the powers. Ikiwa bases zako ziko zote ni 3 3, wewe chukua hizo powers zako z equal to z equate. So y minus 2 is equal to 3, minus 2 goes to the other side, which becomes plus 2, and therefore y is equal to 5. Again, I'm repeating the same concept again. Now what I said is, if there's division, we subtract the powers. But also there's another way of getting what you uliza. Okay, you ask yourself this, y minus 2 yakupa 3. So y minus 2 yakupa 3. Namba gani sasa nikisubtract na 2 itanipa 3? Obviously ni 5, and therefore your y is 5. The simplest way here. Now let's go to question 5. So the answer to y is 5. Question 5. Njeri intended to plant 45 seedlings. She allocated 1/6 of an hour to plant each seedling. During the planting, she took 1/5 of an hour to plant each seedling. Which of the following calculations would give the extra time used to plant all the seedling? So ikiwa amepewa 1/6 na akatumia 1/5, so we find the remainder. So utachukua 1/6 minus 1/5. Okay, will give the extra time Jerry used to plant all the seedlings. Okay, utachukua 1/6 minus 1/5 and then multiply to 45, kwa sababu kama utatafuta your remaining hour for one seedling, and therefore you multiply by 45 to get the number of hours. So that is the answer. But now I'm not sipati answer kwenye marking scheme, hakuna kwenye choices, so I'll assume for now, let me just say that 1/6 minus 1/5 divide, not divide, but multiply to 45. Come on. Let's go to the other question. Question 6. Okay. Question 6. The total number of books in a library is 400. There are Y mathematics books in the library. The number of storybooks is thrice the number of maths books. The remaining books are for other learning areas. Which of the following represents the number of books for other learning area? So the total number of books in a library is 400. So umeambiwa maths books is Y. The number of storybooks, the storybooks ziko nyingi siku hizi, is thrice the number of maths books, so it's going to be 3y. The remaining books are for other learning areas, so I write here other learning areas, maybe English, Swahili, and etc. Then it's going to be the remainder. So in the remainder, since all the books are 400, and the total for these two books, y plus 3y, will give you 4y. The remainder will be the total books minus the two books, which is minus 4y. And that is your answer. So this one represents books for other learning areas, 400 minus 4y. Now let's go to question 7. Now, a school is planning to transport K number of learners for games. Now, for economical purpose, the school has to transport more than 40 learners, so but not exceeding 52 learners. So lazima ita transport more than 40 learners, lakini isipite 52 learners, but not exceeding 52 learners. Which of the following inequalities represent the above information? So you write the number of learners represented by K. So more than 40 should be written this way. More than 40 learners. You see what 40, but more than that, but not exceeding 52. So it can be 52, so it can be equal to 52, but less and less than 52, but no more than that. So inaweza kuwa ikawa ni 52 ama chini yake, and therefore this is your answer. Siona mambo kawa. So not exceeding lazima iwe ni equal or less. So question 7 done. Question 8. Maureen, a pretty girl, presented the results of her results for 2 assessments for 5 learning areas using the matrix below. What is the order of the matrix? Now we said matrix utaanza na row by column. Sawa, ukiangalia hiyo matrix iko na row ngapi? Row ya kwanza, row ya pili. This is row. This is row. Row ya kwanza, row ya pili. Column ni hivi. Hivi ni row na column ni hivi. Mwanafunzi mmoja ankoroga, nilikuwa nikimfunza, she used to koroga vitu hapo. So this is column. So column goes this way. I don't know why it's korogaring pia. Column ni hivi. Vertical columns. So ukiangalia column ngapi? Column ya kwanza, pili, ya tatu, ya nne na column ya tano. So we have 2 rows by 5 columns. So that is your answer. Question 9. The minute hand of a clock, this is a clock, has a length of 14 centimeters. So the minute hand is usually the longest. So has a length of 14 centimeter. The minute hand moved for 15 minutes. So it can move for 15 minutes kwa sababu 12 ikianza hapa 15 minutes paka ifike kwa 3. So this is 15 minutes. So the angle is usually 90. Remember, huwa iko hivi, 0 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. So kutoka 0 paka hii 15 is usually 90, 90, 90, 90, and that is why it gives you 360 for the circle. So you have to from 0 to 15 minutes is 90 degrees. Now, what was the length which the tip of the minute had swept through? So it's asking you about this length of the arc. Now, for us to know the length of an arc, the formula is very easy. Okay, the length of an arc is equal to, is it pi dh? No, is equal to, not pi d, so because it's a sector, it's going to be theta over 360 by a diameter. So theta yako ni 90 over 360 times 22 over 7 times diameter yako ni nini? Kama radius yako ni 14, diameter yako ni mara mbili ya radius, so it's 2 times 14, which will give you 28. So your diameter is basically 28. So hii na hii ya cancel by 7 1 by 7 4, okay, by 9 1 by 9 4 by 4 1 by 4 1, and your answer is 22 centimeter. So the answer is just this. 2-1. Question 10. The number of bags of maize harvested by a farmer in 4 different farms were 10, M, 90, and 270. So work out the value of M that makes the numbers proportional. Question 10. The number of bags of maize harvested by a farmer in 4 different farms were 10, M, 90, and 270. Work out the value of M that makes the numbers proportional. So if they gave you 4 numbers, this is how you solve it. This is called rates and proportionalities. So we're just looking at proportions here. So proportions will be like this. The proportion of 10 and M, which is 10 over M, and also 9 over 270 is equal to 9 over 270. Now, next step, we do something called cross multiplication. So M goes here, we get, but now before that, 90 can be divided by 270 to give you 1 over 3. Now you do cross multiplication, M times 1 will give you 1M, and 10 times 3 will give you, 30. So the answer is 30. So that is your answer. The answer is basically 30. Question 10 done. Let's squeeze question 11 here. Question 11, which is this one. A rectangular container is having a length of 7 meters. So we have a 3D rectangle, or we say it's cuboid. So rectangular container is having a length of 7 meters. Okay. Width 5 meters, so 7 meters, 5 meters, and a height of 8 meters. What is the capacity of the container in liters? Capacity of the container in liters, first we need to find the volume itself. And volume of a cuboid is length times width times height. So your length is 7 times 5 times 8, and it's going to give you 35 times 8 to be exactly 280 cubic meters. So you're going to get 280 cubic meters. But now you want to convert it into liters. But we know that for every 1 cubic meter is equal to 1000 liters. So obviously, what about 280 cubic meter? You multiply by 1000 to be converted to liters, and therefore you're going to get 280,000 liters. Is the answer there? Yep. That's question 11. Question 12. Question 12. The temperature of a liquid was recorded as 22 degrees Celsius. 22 degrees Celsius. Which of the following calculations give the correct temperature in Kelvin? Nasikia mgongo wangu uma kweli. Viti. I need a new chair. Please contribute. Number 1. My number is just the same, 0797550885. Contribute, give me a chair bana. Where viti kama hivi ya kuumiza mgongo, ukitaka kulala pia huwezi lala. The temperature of a liquid was recorded as 22 degrees Celsius. Which of the following calculations give the correct temperature in Kelvin? Now we know that 0 degrees Celsius gives you 273 Kelvin. Now, you ask yourself, what about 22? Now, we say that if you want to convert degrees Celsius into Kelvin, then we normally add. We don't multiply, we don't divide, we just add. So, kama unataka kubadilisha 22 degrees Celsius into Kelvin, utachukua hiyo 22 and then you'll add it to 273. So, that is the way we do. Now, the question is just telling you, or asking you to give the following calculations, or the the calculation that is needed for you to convert it into Kelvin, and that is this one. But the answer is 293. The question is different. So the real answer is this one. So let's move. Now question 13. Kumi na watatu. Work out the volume of the prism drawn below. So we have a prism like this, and now many students usually get this confused. Now there's a simple formula for prism which I'll tell you just right now. The simplest formula is this: find first the area of the triangle. Okay, then once you get that, you multiply by 2, because there would be 2 triangles at the end of the day. So you have this triangle. If you multiply by 2, you're going to get the area of these 2 triangles. So this is called a cross section. Now we have a triangle that looks like this, which here is 5 and here is 5, and the length is 6. But now for you to get area of a triangle, we need to take a half base times height, but we don't have the height. Now what happens now if you don't have the height? And therefore we need to search for the height. So if you don't have the height, find it out. So you what do you say? You you drop a perpendicular line from the top to the bottom. So once you drop it, you're going to get a triangle that looks like this, and we have 5 centimeter here, and the 6 that you have, you divide it by 2, you get 3 and 3. So we have 3 here. Okay, the next thing we need to find out is this height, and therefore we're going to do, for you to get this, and we know that Pythagoras theorem, we have a, b, and c, and now we need to find a, and therefore we know that a squared equal to b squared plus c squared. If you just want to get a, then it's just basically the square root of b squared plus c squared. So b squared is 3 squared. No, sorry, I'm confused like the student. Now whatever I've written is what the student usually do, but for you to get a squared, you usually take the longest minus the smallest, which is c squared minus b squared, no plus, and therefore we square root it afterwards to get just a. So square root c squared minus b squared, 5 squared minus 3 squared, you get 25 minus 9. Square root that, 25 minus 9 will give you 16. Square root of 16 will give you 4 centimeter, and therefore your height is 4 centimeter. Is it hard? Nope, not hard. So now if we know the height and we know the base, let's search for the area of that triangle. So a half times our base is not 3, our base is 6, times 6 times the height, which is 4, and then you'd multiply by 2 to get the other, to find the sum of those 2 triangles. So a half times 6 times 4 will give you 12, and 2 times 12 will give you 24. Remember, this gives you 12, and then if you multiply by 2, it gives you 24 centimeters square. Is that the final answer? No. Now there's a simpler way of finding the area of the other shapes, which is let me show it here, which is this one, and we have another one, we have this one, and we have the down one. So the easiest way is very simple. You normally take the perimeter of that triangle that we have. You take 5 plus 5 plus 6. Once you get that perimeter, you multiply by 13. So 5 plus 5 plus 6 gives you 16, times 13 will give you 16 times 13 is going to give you 16 times 13 is 208. And once you get that, you add 208 to 224. So 208, this is where 208 is, plus 24. Okay, come here. So 208 plus 24 will give you 232. That is the answer. Now, in case this confuses you, the simplest one, we normally do this way as well. This is where many students usually do this way. Wataka kutafuta area chini mwanzo wacha tutafute. So we find the area of this, and the area of this is 13 times 16. Then put a plus sign. And then you need to find an area of for this east side, and to find the area of that one is 5 times 13 or so. Okay, because if you see here is 5, now hapa ni 13, so 5 times 13. Then to find the area of the last region, which is around here, which is here, hapa hii side, the slanting side, is just equal to 5 times 13. This is 13, this is 5 also, so 5 times 13 or 13 times 5. So you're going to get 13 times 16, 13 times 16, 13 times 16, 208. 13 times 16, no, it's supposed to be 13 times 6. 13 times 6 is because it's 13 here and 6 here. 13 times 6 is 78 plus 45 plus another 45, and most likely you get the same thing. 45 times 2 plus 78 is going to give you 168. Why? Oh, sorry, 5 times 13 is not 45. I'm confusing myself around this. It's 65 plus another 65. 130 plus 78 is 208. You got that one, then you add 224 to get 320. No, to get 232. So that is the answer again, once more. But I showed you the simplest one. Whichever formula that you use is still correct. Question 14. Question 14. A man has a mass. He has a mass of 98 kg. What will be his weight on the surface of the moon, where the gravity, okay, the gravity is 1.6 newtons per kg. Okay, very simple question. So you have a mass, you have gravity, and the question is asking you to find the weight. Now for you to get weight is equal to mg, mass times the gravitational pull. So the gravitational pull for the moon is different from the earth. The earth is around 10, or for the moon is 1.6, which is somehow simple. So you take the mass doesn't change wherever you are, it will just remain to be the same. So take 98 kg times 1.6 newtons per kg. So how much will it give us? 98 times 1.6. That gives you it gives you 156.8. Okay, so that is the answer to question 14. 156.8 newtons. Question 15. A bus traveled between two towns. So it traveled between two towns a distance of 300 kilometers. At an average speed, so the distance is 300, speed is 60 kilometers per hour. A van took 1 hour less to travel the same distance. So a van took 1 hour less to travel the same distance. So that is the bus first. The bus, this is the bus. Let me just write it here. The speed is 60 kilometers per hour. So we know that is the bus. The van, now it traveled the same distance, which is distance to be 300 kilometer. We weren't told about the speed, so we don't know the speed, but the time was 1 hour less. So let's find the time of the bus first. We know the speed, bus, we know the speed, we know distance, okay, but we don't know time taken by the bus. And for you to get time taken, you take distance over speed from this one. DSTV, DSNT. So distance over speed, 300 divided by speed, which is 60. 300 divided by 60 is going to give you 5 hours. Now, when you look at the van distance, speed you don't know. The distance is still 300 kilometers. but the time taken is 1 hour less than the bus. So if the bus took 5 hours, the van will take 5 minus 1, which is 4 hours, because it took 1 hour less. Now if you want to get speed, I show speed is equal to distance over time. So distance is 300 divided by time, which is 4. Therefore speed is going to be 300 over 4, which is 75 kilometers per hour. And that is the answer. Simple as that. Question 16. Hopefully there is space. Question 16. Two towns P and Q are located on longitudes. We have longitudes 67 degrees west and 53 degrees east. Okay. What is the longitude difference between the two towns? Now skizeni, kama moja ni west, nyingine ni east. If they have different directions, we add the longitudes to find the difference. Add them up. If you have same direction, if both of them are maybe west or east and east, then we normally subtract. So but since moja ni west, nyingine ni east, we add. So you just take 67 plus 53, which will give you 120. So yeah, 67 plus 53, 120. That is the answer. Simple question, simple answer. Question 17. The time taken by Omanyala to finish a race is estimated to be 10 seconds. So time is 10 seconds. During the race, he took 9.96. So the real time he took, or the actual time, let me say, there's two times specifically. This is the estimated time, which is 10 seconds. And the actual time is normally 9.96. Now work out the percentage error in this estimation. Now for us to get percentage error, we need to find out error over actual multiplied by 100. Okay, now we know that error, and for us to get error, we normally take actual minus estimated. Okay, in which our actual is 9.96 minus estimated, which is 10, is going to give you negative. Now 0, which is negative 0.04. But now since you're seeing the answer doesn't have any negative, then we'll assume this one to be the absolute value or the absolute error. Now for us to get that percentage, we take the 0.04 divide by the actual is 9.96 multiplied by 100. So most of the students might think it's 10, but it's not 10. So 0.04 divided by 9.96 times 100 is going to give you 0.4016 or 402, 0.04 in short. So sorry, no, 0.04, 0.4%. So where is the answer? This is the answer. Okay, now question 18. Write down the coordinates of point M. Coordinates of point M. Where is our M? Our M is here. Now coordinates is normally X and Y coordinate. So let's see, the X coordinate is -1 and the Y coordinate is 2. So that is the answer, -1 comma sorry, it's not 2, that is -2 because it's below 0. So that is supposed to be -2. Sorry for that. I thought it was positive, but it's supposed to be negative. -1 comma -2. So this is our answer. Right, we're finishing section B. Question 19. What name is given to angle marks Y in the diagram below? This is called a reflex angle. Reflex angle is normally outside the acute. This is acute and this is reflex. Okay, not reflect, reflex angle. Reflex angles are usually angles that range between 180 to 360 degrees. So larger than 180, but less than 360. So yeah. So that is reflex angle. So it's called reflex angle. The last question of the day, that is question 20. Write the inequality satisfying the region shown below. Okay. If you look at it, the line drops vertically to 2. So most probably is x is equal to 2. So if it drops at x coordinate 2, is x equal to 2, but it's not, that's not the answer. You look at the shading place, so it's shaded on the right side. It means that you don't need numbers equal on the right, and numbers that are on the right side are greater than 2, like 3, 4, 5. So this is the unwanted region, ni region ambayo haitakikani. The one that is shaded is the unwanted. The one that is not shaded is called the wanted. You want that region, and the wanted regions are less than 2, are less or equal to 2, because if the line is full, then it has an equal sign below it. If the line is dotted, it's just going to be x is less than 2 without the equal sign. So but since the line is full, then you just write x is less or equal to 2. So that is our answer to this question. Okay, question 21. A certain company was contracted to supply 12,645,321 Ebola vaccine by the end of the year 2026. By June the same year, the company had supplied 7,328,448 Ebola vaccines. How many vaccines were yet to be supplied? Okay, so you just take the 12,645,321 minus 7,328,448 to see how much. So we'd get how much? 12,645,321 minus 7,328,448 is going to give us a remainder of 5,316,000. So 5,316,873. So that is the answer. Write the number of vaccines yet to be supplied in words. The number of vaccine yet to be supplied in words, that is 5,316,000 and 16,000 873. So that is the answer. Question C. Write the number of Ebola vaccines supplied by June, rounded off to the nearest thousands. So the ones that were supplied, si zile ambazo zimekuwa, zile ambazo hazijakuwa supplied, that is 7,328,448. Those were the ones that were supplied. Okay. Rounded off to the nearest thousands. So this is ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands. So this is the number. Utaangalia mbele yake, is it less than 5, greater than 5? 4 is less than 5, and therefore 8 is just going to remain the way it is. So you won't round it up. So you just have 8 is going to be rounded to zeros. So that is the answer. So this is our answer, 7,328,000. Question 22. A metallic container is in the shape of a cube. So it looks like this. The length of the container is 3.2 meters. Work out the volume, determine the volume of the container. So volume is given by S cubed. Volume is equal to 3.2 times 3.2 times 3.2. So 3.2 cubed. It's going to be how much? It's going to be 32.768. 32.768 cubic meter. So that is the volume. Smaller cubes of 60 centimeter were packed in the container. So we have 60 centimeter, smaller ones, 60 centimeter. Let's convert the 60 centimeter into meters. And how do you do that? You divide by 100, because 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeter. So if you want to convert centimeter into meter, because 1 meter is 100, so if you convert 60 into meters, you need to divide it by 100. So you take 60 divide by 100, and you're going to get 0.6 meters. So happen is 0.6, 0.6, and 0.6. So let's find the volume of that first. So 0.6 times 0.6 meters times 0.6 meters, that is 0.6 cubed, is going to give you 0.216. So this is 0.216 cubic meter. So since your volume is 0.216 and the volume of the larger one is, so you take the volume of the larger one, divide by volume of sonar, it gives you the number of small cubes that were packed. So the number of smaller cubes that were packed will be 32.768 cubic meter divided by 0.216 cubic meter. So let's see how much is it going to give us. That gives you 151.7. So let's approximate it to 151. So most of the people would have rounded it up to 152, which we might have been wrong. So we'll just imagine 0.7. It is here around VP up. So that's the only minimum value. So 151 cubes. Okay. Question 23. A wedding ceremony was attended by men, women, and children. The ratio of men to women to children was 5:8:7. There were 280 children in the ceremony. Determine A, the number of women who attended the ceremony. B, how many more children than men attended the ceremony. So we have men, women, and children. So men were 5, women were 8, and children were 7. So 5:8:7. But we know the number of children is 280. So let me write it here. Now for you to get to 80, what do you do to 7? You need to multiply to 40 so that you can get to 80. So lazima uchukue 7 times 40 ndio ikupe 280. So you need to multiply each ratio hapa to 40. So 8 times 40 yakupa 320. 5 times 40 yakupa 200. Sasa ujiuliza hii 40 tapata vipi? Utachukua 280 divided by 7 ndio yakupa 40 itself. So you multiply each ratio to 40. So swali imeuliza number of women who attended ceremony ni 320 women. 3 marks tayari hizo. How many more children than men attended the ceremony? Children walikuwa 280. Men walikuwa 200. So 280 minus 200 is going to give you 80 more children. Okay, a factory had 12 men working 8 hours a day. Men working 8 hours a day to pack sugar in a small sachets. The men worked for 10 days. So days, hours, and men. So 12 men, 8 hours a day, and 10 days. Determine how many more days. Okay, let me put the days in between. So walifanya in 10 days. And hours walifanya in 8 hours. So how many more days 8 men working 10 hours per day will take to pack the same amount of sugar? So above the question mark is the number of days. So utaanza kuandika 10 times. Now the first thing that you need to do is utaficha upande wa men, which is this side, and you'll assume that there's one person, one man, one man, one man. So that one man, if he's given a working 10 hours, 10 days, that one person yachukua 10 days in 8 hours. For yani yatumia 10 days akifanya 8 hours a day. So what if that one person ikiwa atafanya 10 hours a day, will he take more days or less days? Kwa sababu In a day he took more hours, it's going to mean that he's going to take less time. So between 8 and 10, which is less, is 8 over 10. So baada ushamaliza na men, you come utakuja hapa, utakuja upande huu, which is this one. Okay, so and then you'll replace it with 1 and 1. So again, you'll ask yourself the same thing. You'll ask yourself 12 men working 1 hour a day, wamaliza siku 10 hiyo kazi. What about 8 men wakifanya the same hour? Will they take more days or less days? Kwa vile wako kidogo, they will take more days. So utachukua between 12 and 8 is 12. More is 12. So yeah. So 10 times 8 over 10 times 12 over 8. By 8 1, by 8 1, by 10 1, by 10 1, and therefore the answer is going to be 12 days. Swali imekuuliza how many more days, tomana ukaambiwa underline the keyword how many more days. So how many more days? You're going to take 12 minus 10, which is 2 more days. Okay, ona rahisi sana. Okay, the number of chickenpox patients admitted in a hospital was expressed as a fraction of the number of patients admitted. The fraction was written in decimal form as 0.28 recurring. Express the decimal in fraction form. Okay. Okay, now 0.28, wacha tuseme r is equal to 0.28 recurring. 8 is the one that is recurring, so itakuwa 8888. And then 10r is going to be 2.888 recurring. 100r is going to be 28.888. Hizo zatosha. Now you look at the ones that match after the decimal points. So ukiona hapa ni 8 yanza 888. So the ones that I'll take is 10r and 100r, kwa sababu if I subtract them hizo decimal points zitatoka. So 100r is equal to 28.88888 and 10r is equal to 2.8888. Subtract the 2, so 100r minus 10r is going to be 99r. Go wrong. 90r is equal to 28.88 minus 2.88, which is equal to 26. Divide by 90. Divide by 90. Okay. And therefore r is equal to 13 over 45. So that is the answer. I don't know even if I read the question of words, but the number of chickenpox admitted in hospital is expressed as a fraction of the number of patients admitted. The fraction was written in decimal form as 0.28. Express the decimal in fraction form, and this is your answer. Barak had 21,000 shillings to spend on clothes. That is Barak. If he buys 2 shirts and 3 pairs of trousers, which is going to be 2s plus 3 pairs of trousers, which is 3t, he spends all the money, so he's going to spend 21,000 shillings. If he buys 3 similar shirts, which is 3s, and 2 similar pairs of trousers, which is 2t, is going to remain with 2,000 shillings left. He will have 2,000 shillings left. So let's say if he had 21,000 and he remains with 2,000 shillings, so how much would he have spent? 21 minus 2 is going to give you 19,000. So he will have spent 19,000 shillings. Find the cost of 1 shirt and 1 pair of trousers. Simultaneous equation. So what we're going to do is to make this and this to be similar. And how? We take the 3 up, we multiply it to all numbers, and then we take the 2 down. So it's going to give you 3 times 2s, which is 6s, 3 times 3t, 9t, and 21 times 3 is going to give you 63,000 shillings. 2 times 3s, 6s, plus 2 times 2t, which is 4t, and 2 times 19. Remember, 2 times 3, 6s, 2 times 2, 4t, 2 times 19, which is going to give you 38,000 shillings. Then subtract, because same signs, you subtract. Both of them are positive, and therefore just subtract. So 6s minus 6s, up. 90 minus 40 is 5t, and 63,000 minus 38,000. 63,000 minus 38,000 is going to give you 25,000. Okay, so this is going to give you 25,000. Divide by 5. Divide by 5 to get T. T is equal to 5,000 shillings. The answer, yes. But now we remain with one shot. So we're going to take 2s plus 3t is equal to 21,000. 2s means we don't know. 3t is 3 times the price of the trouser, which is 5,000, is equal to 21,000 shillings. 3 times 5 is 15,000, is equal to 21,000. 2s plus 15,000. Put the 15,000 to the other side, and it's going to be minus 15,000 shillings. So you remain with 2s, which is equal to 21 minus 15 is supposed to be 6,000. Divide by 2, divide by 2, and therefore s is going to be 3,000 shillings. So the price of a trouser is 3,000. The price of a trouser is 5,000. The price of a shirt is 3,000. But just right here, let T equal to price of a trouser, and let S be equal to price of a shirt. But we've already found out the answer. So this and this. 2 grades 8 and 9 bought books, pens, and sets in 2 weeks as shown in the following tables. We have week 1, week 2, 4 matrices to represent the information above. For week 1, the matrix is going to be this way: 15, 12, 6, 25, 19, and 3. Okay, that is for week 1. Week 2. Week 2 is going to be this one, which is 13, 11, 5, 27, 10, and 9. So that is the answer to this the first question. Question B, determine the total number of items. That means you need to add them. So 15, 12, 6, 25, 19, 3, added to 13, 11, 5, 27, 10, and 9. So let's go most. 15 plus 13 will give you 28. 12 plus 11 will give you 33. 6 plus 5 will give you 11. 25 plus 27 will give you 25 plus 27 is going to give you 52. And this side, so 7 plus 25, 52. 19 plus 10 is 29, and 3 plus 9 is 12. So that is the answer. Elvis drew a line that passes through the point 9,5 and has a gradient of -2/3. Determine A, the equation of the line, and question B, the coordinates of the x-intercepts of the line. So equation of a line ni rahisi. We know that the equation is equal to y is y equal to mx plus c. We know the point is 9,4. We know the gradient is -2/3. So now just substitute in. So y is x, this is y. Y is 4. M is your gradient, which is -2/3. Multiply to the x value, which is 9, plus c. Okay, 4 is equal to -2/3 times 9, which is going to give you -6 plus c. -6, we look at the other side, it's going to be 4 plus c is equal to c. 4 plus 6 is equal to c. 10 is equal to c. Therefore, your equation is going to be y equal to -2/3x plus c, which is 10. Khalas. Ukipata c tu wewe andika equation yako tena in the form of y equal to m, andika gradient yako, x andike tu kama letter, plus your constant andika kama number. Then you get this one. The coordinates of the x-intercept of the line. X-intercept is when y is equal to 0. Sawa. So kama hivi, hii ndo Cartesian plane yako, line hiyo yakata hapa. So this is called y-intercept, yakata kwa y-axis. So this is when x is equal to 0. So now we know the equation is y equal to -2/3 x plus 10. So y is equal to 0, pale ambapo kuna y utaweka 0, so substitute y with 0 equal to -2/3x plus 10. -2/3 peleka the other side is going to give you 2/3x is equal to 10. Then multiply by 3/2, multiply by 3/2, and therefore x is going to be 10 times 3/2, which is 15. So your answer is supposed to be 15. X-intercept. Yeah, it's when y is equal to 0, is correct. X ni number, y is 0. So 15, 0 is your answer. Kenny Plus makes disposable hemispherical balls of diameter 28 centimeter. So hemisphere, not a sphere. So of diameter 28 centimeter. Determine the number of such balls that can be made from 1 square meter of disposable material. So yeah, very easy question. Now let's find the area of the area. But before finding the area, remember E equal 1 square meter. So let's change the E of centimeter into meter. So kama ni 28 centimeter, you divide by 100, just like I've said, you're going to get 0.28 meters. And area of this hemisphere is equal, so kwa vile ni ball is open, equal open U, so area is going to be 2 pi r squared. If it's closed, it's going to be 3 pi r squared. So 2 times 22/7 times r squared, which is 0.28 squared. 2 times 22/7 times 0.28 squared, that gives you 0.4928. So 0.4928 square meters. Now for you to get the number of such balls, or number of balls you take 0.4928, okay, or that can be made from 1 square meter. So you take 1 square meter, divide by 0.4928 square meter. Let's see how much is it going to give us. 1 divided by this. Is it done like that really? No, it's not done like that. Nimekosea mahali. Times r squared. This is diameter. So divide by 2 is going to give you radius. So 0.14. So hapa bado niandike 0.14, nimeandika 0.28. So 2 times 22/7 times 0.14 squared is going to give you 0.1232. Okay, 0.1232 square meter. Okay, and you'll take this 1 square meter, divide by 0.1232 to see how many balls you'll get, which will give you 8, precisely 8 balls. Then that is your answer. Question 30. John walked 240 meters westwards, which is here. So kwenda hivi 240 meters, then 70 meters northward. So 70 meters northward, which is this way. So that is 70 meters in 50 seconds. Determine her velocity. So for us to get that thing, we need to search for this. And for us to search for this, we need to use 70 squared, a squared plus b squared. So 70 squared plus 240 squared, square root it. Let's see how much is it going to give us. Square root is going to give us 62,500. Square root of that one is 250. So that is our displacement. So to find velocity, we need to search for displacement over time. So our displacement is 250 over total time, which is 50 plus 75. So it's going to be 250 divided by 125. 250 over 125 is going to be 2. So that is 2 meters per second. Let's continue. It is 5:30 a.m. on Saturday at M 160 degrees east. Find the time at point N on longitude 170 degrees west. So you have 170 degrees west, that is point N. Then you have point M, which is 160 degrees east. The time at M is 5:30. So ikiwa tafuta time ya N, itabidi sasa tuje nyuma. Okay, yani tuje nyuma. So the time at N will be lesser than that one at M. So if you get the time difference, then obviously you'll get the actual answer. Now let's find out. We know that for every 1 degrees difference is equal to 4 minutes. But what is the longitudinal difference? So what is the longitudinal difference? How do you get that? So longitudinal difference, if the directions are different, moja ni west, nyingine ni east, we add them and not subtract them. So we take 170 plus 160 and is going to give you 170 plus 160, that is 330 degrees. Okay, so what about 330 degrees then? One degree difference gives you a difference of 4 minutes, or about 330 degrees. Therefore, u times 330 times 4, it will give you how many minutes? 1320 minutes. If you convert it into hours by dividing into 60, because 1 hour is equivalent to 60 minutes. Right. So how much do you think you get? So how much do you think you'd get? 1320 divided by 60 is going to give you 22 hours. Don't know what's happening, but it should be writing, not writing. 22 hours. So let me use another pen. So this is 22 hours. Sorry for the delay. Now, once you get that 22 hours, that's not the answer. So kwa vile tutafuta time at n and the difference is 22 hours. Let me write 22 hours here. We need to subtract the time kwa sababu hii iko mbele ya n. So for you to reach to get the time at n, you need to subtract the time. You take the time at m, subtract with the difference. So 5:30 a.m. subtract 22 hours. Okay. Now let's say ikiwa uta subtract 24, 5:30 a.m. okay, subtract 24, and because this is on a Saturday, you subtract 24, itakuwa umeenda Friday. Right. If it is 24, let me just write it here. If it was 5:30 a.m. minus 24 hours, then time ingekuwa Friday at 5:30 p.m. Sorry, 5:30 a.m. So that is if you subtract 24 hours. But instead of subtracting 24 hours, you subtracted 22 hours. So there's a difference of 2 hours. Yamaanisha haitakuwa 5:30 a.m. Instead, it's going to be 5:30 a.m. plus the 2 hours, and therefore it's going to give you 7:30 a.m. Sawa, nataka tuelewane, je kawa naenda haraka alafu uelewe. Now what I've said is, if you had subtracted 24 hours, your 5:30 a.m. ungesubtract 24 hours, ingekuwa umeregea to Friday the same time 5:30 a.m. Sawa, that is 24 hours. Lakini kwa vile to subtract 22 hours,
yamaanisha haitorejea 5:30 am, but instead you'll add 2 hours extra. Okay, you'll add 2 hours extra, so it's supposed to be 7:30 am on Friday. So hopefully people have understood me. Kwa vile ya subtraction na 22 na si 24, bali iregee paka 5:30 am, itarejea 7:30 am. So your final answer is supposed to be Friday 7:30 am. Tamam. So that is the correct answer. Question 32. Michael imported a car whose custom value was 4 million. He was charged an import duty at the rate of 20%, excise duty at the rate of 15%, and value-added tax at the rate 12%. Determine the amount of money Michael paid as A. Import duty, B. Excise duty, C. Value-added tax. Now, import duty itakuwa ni 20% times 4 million. So 20% times 4 million is going to be 800,000. That is the answer. But now, for the excise duty, you might think it's 15% of 4 million, which is incorrect. It's supposed to be 15% of 4 million plus the 800,000 ambao umepata extra. So if you add these two, at the end of the day, you're calculating 15% of 4,800,000. So 15% of that, of 4,800,000, is going to give you 720,000 shillings. So that is also another answer. Value-added tax. Value-added tax is 12%. Hiyo sasa 12% utafanya the same thing. So you'll take 4 million, add to the import duty is 800,000, add to 720,000, that is the excise duty. Now if you add this 3, it's going to give me 4,800,000 plus 720. That will give you a total of 5,520,000. So 12% of this, let's see how much is it going to give you. It's going to give you 662,400 Kenya shillings. So that is the answer. This one as well, this one as well. Let's go to the other question now. Question 33. Find the perimeter of the figure below to two significant figures. 3 marks. For you to calculate perimeter, lazima utafute length of an arc. And then add to this 2 radiuses, or add to the diameter itself. So in short, for you to calculate perimeter, you need to find theta over 360 by r, that's the length of the arc, plus 2r, or let's say plus diameter. Itakupa perimeter yote. Now let's search for theta. Theta is 72. So over 360 times 2 times pi, 22 over 7, times radius, which is 8. Then you add to the diameter, which is 8 plus 8. So in 8, so the diameter is going to be 16. So 72 over 360 times 2 times 22 over 7 times 8 is going to give you, this one is going to give you 10.06 plus 16, which will give you 26.06. So plus 16, yeah, 26.06. And that is the answer, centimeter. Now, another way that you can do, you can take theta over 360 pi d plus diameter. So 72 over 360 times 22 over 7 times diameter, which is, if the radius is 8, then diameter is 16. Then add to the diameter again 16. So it's going to give you 10.06 upper plus the 16. You're going to get still 26.06 centimeter. As simple as that. to two significant figure, sorry, karibu nikose. To two significant figure is going to be, kwa vile ni 1 2, so mbele ya 6 ni 0 which is less than 5, and therefore to two significant figure itakuwa 26 cm. Tuweni makini kwa sababu angalia swali, kama ikuambia to round off then round off, kama haijakwambia round off achana nao, you just round it off to four significant figure. Okay, a triangular plate has dimension 70 cm, 50 cm, and 65 cm. A circular design touching the sides is to be painted inside the plate. Find the radius of the design by construction using a ruler and a pair of compass only. So ukiwa na triangle kama hii, wata construct 70, let's say 65 ni hapa, then 50 cm. Or just let's be on the safer side though, itakuwa the same. Wacha tuanze na 70, then 50, then 65. And then you're supposed to construct a circle ambayo itatouch hizo vertices, and then let's find out the radius. So again, very easy. If I touch sides, not the vertices, sorry, supposed to touch the sides, so si vertices, ndo sikuielewa. We're supposed to touch the vertices, which is the side, sorry, which is here. So hapa ni 65 cm. So yamaanisha we need to bisect this, bisect angles. So angle bisector, this one, then bisect this angle as well, and then we get a center so that we can draw circle in it. So let's start. So mwanzo ni 50 cm na 70 cm, kuna 65 cm. Where? So for now, let's just imagine them as 7.0 hizo, kwa sababu kuna hatuna, what do you call it, hatuna hizi nini, so but wakati wa kuchora onesha tu. So hapa ni 7.0, hii ni 5.0, and this is 6.5 cm. Now let's come and now start to draw it. So wacha tuanze na 50 cm. So 5.0 cm, but iandike tu hapa 1 cm represents 10 cm, but it's supposed not to be this way, but oh no, ima nadhani. Okay, let's start drawing 5. So 5 is supposed to be drawn, but let's start drawing yani yote mwanzo kabla hujadraw, alafu hii ni sana. Wacha tuanze kuchora yote mwanzo, and then now let's construct. Acha hii ije hapa, then tuseme hii, and obviously itatuonesha 5 iko wapi. Using this one here huwa usually tells me, so 5 5 5 5 5 iko hapa, so tayari hii ndo 5. Sawa, so tayari hiyo ni 5, na obviously utakuja hapa tena utachora hiyo 5 upande huu mwingine, so hii pia ni 5. So then we come tuchore 7 na 6.5. Wacha tuanze na 7, tuanze na 7. So 7 7 7 ni hapa, so hapa ni 7. So let's draw this. Ukitaka kuchora shida hizi. And then let's draw now another one at 6.5. 6.5 equal kidogo nione 6.6 hiyo kidogo 6.5 sasa hivi. Tuje hapa tu kwa sababu itatusumbua baadaye. So hiyo 7 ilikuwa ni hii, tuacha tu hii kidogo tu. Ishakutana. So once ishakutana, obviously you connect them. So let's connect this to this. Obviously you'll use a ruler kwa sababu mimi nataka nimalize. Acha nitumie hizi apparatus zangu ambazo za kusimplify. So let's say this triangular plate is maybe ABC. Okay, A, B, and so after that now we bisect the angles. So twaje, so hapa angle bisector. So ta bisect hapa, atakuja hapa, ta bisect pia hapa, and tutakuja kwa hii tuta bisect pia, tutakuja hapa tuta bisect pia. So yeah, so ni hapa tu, so you know our angle itaingia mpaka wapi. So we bisected the angle mpaka ikapita hapa, ni sawa. Then twaja kwa hii angle ingine tuta bisect pia same way. So let's bring this here, tutakuja hapa also bisect this, and then tutakuja hapa tuta bisect na hii pia. Hapa tayari. Then tutakuja hapa obviously the same thing, tutakuja tuta create an arc hivi. Then we come here, we create also an arc. Okay, tamam. And then khalas, hizi compass kutumia ni mtihani. So twaje hapa ka hapa. So tayari tushajua center yetu. This is our center. So once we get the center, now it becomes much easier. So we bring this here, this is our center. Then kwa vile zafaa touch sides, we'll touch the sides now. We should touch the sides. Sijui kwa nini haizitouch, nadhani kwa sababu ya we should touch the side, but now the problem is hii kitu chaku hii kitu changu hauwezi kuipunguza hivyo, ita mitihani hata nikianza kunini iko na shida. So let's just assume hiyo kitu umeweka center, na ikatouch, sawa, ikatouch hizi zote. So imetouch hii hapa, let's just assume imetouch, sawa. So the answer that you'll get from the radius, we'll assume imetouch for now, sawa. Uta assume imetouch hivi. So yeah, tumetumia set, that is, so your radius should be 1.7, which is 17 centimeter. So once we get 1.7, alafu the times na 10, you get 1.7, then times it by 10 to give you now 17 centimeter, and that is the answer. Make sure you write those nini, andika 70 centimeter. You write the real actual values, 50 centimeter, even though CO, and 65 centimeter, and khalas. Now solve the following simultaneous graphically for x plus 3y is equal to 10, x minus 2y is equal to 8. Okay, this is your graph, but first wacha tujue hizo points ni gani. So for the first one ni 4x plus 3y is equal to 10. So chora hii hapa x na y value, sawa. Ukiandika y is equal to mx plus c ndo utapata hizo y values kirahisi. So for example for x plus 3y naweza ikaandika into y equal to mx plus c. So 4x ikaenda the other side ikawa 3y is equal to negative 4x plus 10 divided by 3 divided by 3 divided by 3, y is equal to negative 4 over 3x plus 10 over 3. So this at least itakupa hint ya kuwa which x value to take. So we'll take an x value which is divisible, which is not divisible by 3, and when added to 10 over 3 itakupa number ambao is divide na 3, but just to be on the safer side si lazima atakufanya hivyo. So we just substitute in values. If your x is 0, so let's say if your x is 0, itakuwa ni 4 times 0 plus 3y is equal to 10. So hapa 3 itakupa 0 times 4 is 0, so tubakia na 3y equal to 10, but now you cannot divide it kwa sababu itakupa fraction which will itatusumbua sana for now. So let's think of a number, other number. So let's say 1. So let's say 4 times 1 plus 3y is equal to 10. So 4 times 1 is 4 plus 3y is equal to 10. 4 ipeleke the other side itakuwa minus 4. 3y is equal to 6. Divide by 3, divide by 3, y is equal to 2. So answer yako hapa ni 2. Okay, let's assume another one. Kama kwa vile itakuwa lakini, let's assume another one. Maybe wacha tuweke 2. So 4 times 2, wacha x iwe 2 sahi. 4 times 2 ni 8. 8 plus 3y is equal to 10. 3y is equal to 10 minus 8 itatupa shida kwa sababu itatupa na nimeona hata itanipa decimal 3 swell. X ikiwa ni 3 pia italeta shida. X ikiwa ni 4, let's say. So 4 times 4 plus 3y is equal to 10. 4 times 4 ni 16 plus 3y is equal to 10. 16 peleka the other side, so itakuwa minus 16. So 3y is equal to minus 6. Divide by 3, divide by 3, y itakuwa ni negative 2. So again, it's good now. Kama x yako ni 4, y yako ni negative 2. Maybe ikiwa tutaweka 5, what happens? Ikiwa tutaweka 5, at least you should have 3 points. Ikiwa tutaweka 5 itakuwa ni ngapi? So let's say 4 times 5 plus 3y is equal to 10. Hii itakupa 20 na itakupa 20 plus 3y is equal to 10. 20 ukipeleka the other side itakuwa ni minus 20. 10 minus 20 ni minus 10 equal to 3y, and negative 10 sasa huwezi simplify, itakupa decimal ikiwa utadivide na 3. So let's leave 5. What about 6? 4 times 6 24. 10 minus 24 ni minus 14, pia itakupa shida 7 28. Wacha tujaribu negative 2. Next negative 1. Negative 2, so yamaanisha 4 times negative 2 negative 8 plus 3y is equal to 10. Negative 8 peleka the other side, 3y is equal to plus 8. 10 plus 8 ni 18. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. Y is equal to 6. So acha tuanze na negative. Sawa. So x na y, so acha tuweke negative 2, itakuwa answer ya 6. So now that is that. The other one is this equation, which is x minus 2y is equal to 8. So again, draw another table. X kama ni 0, just say x ni 0, itakuwa ni 0 minus 2y is equal to 8. 0 minus 2y ni negative 2y, divided by negative 2, divided by negative 2y is equal to negative 4. So kama x yako ni 0, y yako itakuwa negative 4. So now let's say x yako ni maybe negative 1 na or 2. X yako ni 2, itakuwa 2 minus 2y is equal to 8. Tupeleka the other side, itakuwa minus 2y is equal to 8 minus 2, which is 6. Divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2, y is equal to negative 3. So if your x is 2, your y is negative 3. Another one is maybe wacha tuchukue negative, no, wacha tuchukue negative 2 pia. So if your x is negative 2 minus 2y is equal to 8, negative 2 peleka the other side itakuwa plus 2, negative 2y is equal to 10, divided by negative 2, negative 2y is equal to negative 5. So hapa itakuwa if your x is negative 2, your y is going to be negative 5. So that is the answer to this one. No, that's not the answer. Tujachora, but we got the coordinates. Okay, sasa wacha tuchore sasa. Now these are the 2 points. 2 points. Wacha niangalie kama tatumia hii. The 2 points are the 3 points. Mwanzo wacha tuanze na 4x plus 3y is equal to 10. Kuna negative 2,6, kuna 1,2, kuna 4, negative 2. So negative 2,6 sasa haiko, so let's just leave that. Lazima uandike 3 points, but only 2 points ataweza kusaidia, 1,2 and 4, negative 2. 1,2 which is here, and then we have 4, negative 2. 4, negative 2 is supposed to be just here. Now, so that is that. So let's go to the other one. X minus 2y is equal to 8. So we're gonna 3 points, negative 2, negative 5. Then you have 0, negative 4, 2, negative 3. So negative 2, negative 5 again haiko, na mimi nilikuwa natafuta tu bure. 0, negative 4. So hii ndio 0, negative 4. But before this, let's draw the, wacha tuchore ile ya kwanza, nimesahau kuchora hii hapa. So let's draw that, and when you draw that, it's supposed to be somewhere here. I'm not wrong, hopefully. Yeah, somewhere here. No. Somewhere here. And now let's draw the other one now. So ya nyingine ni 0, negative 4, which is here, and then 2, negative 3, which is here. So draw a line also from there. So, but before that, hakikisha umeandika hiyo equation yake, in which hii anaandikia hivi. Equation ya hii ni 4x plus 3y is equal to 10. So, for this one, you connect it obviously. So hii itakuwa hapa na zitakutana somewhere. So zitapandana hapa. This is the point. So this is the point through which they will meet. So this equation ni x, acha niandike hivi, x minus 2y is equal to 8. So this point is the point, if you want to solve it, the point through which the two lines meet ni 4. This point is 4, negative 2. and that is your solution. Now, that's the answer to that question. So basically x ni 4, y ni -2. Calculate the value of the angles marked with letter y in the polygon below. Mwanzo kama utakupata hiyo letter y, mwanzo tujue polygon gani. 1 2 3 4 5. It has 5 sides and therefore 5 sides zaitwa heptagon. Okay. Now and then the next step ni kutafuta sum of interior angles in a heptagon, which is given by this formula, which is 180 into bracket n minus 2. So if you have 5 sides, yamaanisha ni 180 into bracket 5 minus 2, which is 180. 5 minus 2 ni 3. 180 times 3 is going to be 540 degrees. Now hizi angles zote ukizi add up zafaa zi add up to 540 degrees. So let's start with 108 plus 145 plus 60 plus y haujui plus 50 will be giving you 540 degrees. So let's add the like terms together. So 108 plus 145 plus 60 plus 50 is going to give you 363. Itakupa 363 plus y is equal to 540. 63 peleka the other side. So it's going to be y is equal to 540 minus 363, and therefore y is equal to 177 degrees. Now, okay, Keith modeled a pyramid whose base was a square of 3 centimeter and a slant height of 5 centimeters shown below. Draw the net of the pyramid. Now, hii yahitaji upime, si ati hiyo, but for now I'll just sketch it. For myself, I'll just sketch it. Unavona kupima pima, tutapimana tu. So square ni hii, sawa? Then we have the 4 rectangles. But you need to draw it to scale. Don't do it just like me. Lazima uchore hii using rulers. So what we know is that hii ni A, hii ni B, C, D, and then what we know is the vertex is V. So zote ni V hapa. Sawa. So BC hii ni 3 centimeter, 3 centimeter, na hizi zingine ni 5 centimeters. The net of the pyramid. Now calculate the total surface area of the pyramid from the net. Now the first thing that we've seen is the square itself. So wacha tuanze kutafuta area hii square, which is given by side times side. So square is side times side, which is 3 times 3, which will give you 9 centimeter square. The second one is the triangle, in which hiyo triangle lazima tuichore. Should be something like this. So one triangle, all triangles resemble each other. So ukipata area ya kwanza utakuwa ushapata zingine. So hii ni 5 cm, 5 cm is a hypotenuse triangle. So hapa chini ni 3 cm. Now for us to get the area, we need area of triangle, we need to apply this formula, which is a half times base times height. But we don't know the height. We know the base is 3, but we don't know the height. So for us to get the height, we therefore need to drop a perpendicular bisector, and that gives you the perpendicular height. So ukidrop a perpendicular bisector hii 3 itagawanya into 1.5, 1.5. Now for us to get the height, you use Pythagoras theorem kwa sababu hii tayari ni right angle triangle, and your C is basically 5, your B is this, your A is this. For us to get A now, you do C squared minus B squared, square root it. So 5 squared minus 1.5 squared, square root that, it gives you A. Your 5 squared minus 1.5 squared, square root that is going to give you 4.7 okay, 770. So that is the height. So triangle is equal to half times your base yako ni hii 3, si 1.5 times 3 times 4.770, which is your height. Let's see how much is it going to give us. A half times the answer times 3 is going to give us 7.155 maybe. Lakini kumbuka, this is one triangle and we have 4 triangles, 1, 2, 3, 4, and therefore we need to multiply by 4, and it's going to give us 28.62. So now let's find the total surface area, which is equal to 9 plus 28.62. So plus 9 tatupa 37.62 centimeter square. That is the answer. Hiyo rahisi sana. Question 38, find the reflex angle of 67 degrees. Reflex angle is greater than 180, less than 360. So if you want to get the reflex angle, you normally take 360 minus the acute angle. So utachukua 360 minus 67, which will give you 293 degrees. And that is your answer. The marks scored by 20 learners in a test were recorded as 17, 19, 18, 12, 14, 15, 14. Hizo ni zote. Yeah. So question A, prepare a frequency distribution table from the data, which is 2 marks. Now let's do this. Even though siko fresh kuchora, but nitajaribu tu. So yeah, now we have something like this. So the smallest number is 11, followed by 12. So these are the marks. We have the marks, we have the tally. Itabidi tutengeneze tally pia. We have the frequency. I think those are enough for now. Hii nyingine si lazima hata. So 11, 12, 13, 14. We have 15. I think we have 16. We have 17 really, yeah, 17. Yani mpaka 19 too. 18 and 19. So let's start most. Let's start with 17. So kuna 17. So hapa ni 17. Then followed by 19. Then followed by 18. Then followed by 12. Then 14. Then 15. Then 14. Then 16. Then 19. Then 18. Then 11. Then another 11. Then 12. Then 14. Then 13. Then 11. Then 13. Then 15. Then 16. And then 14. So yeah, frequency yake ni hii ni tatu. This is 2. This is also 2. This is 4. This is 2. This is 2. This is 1. This is 2. This is 2. So lazima sum of frequency ikupe at least 20. Ukiangalia tu confirm 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 4 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2. Yeah, it gives you 20. Question B, determine the mean mark. Now pata mean mark, kuna kitu yaitwa f of x. So itabidi uchukue hii ndo x yako max. So utachukua 11 times 3 which is 33, 12 times 2 which is 24, 13 times 2 26, 14 times 4 going to give you 56, 15 times 2 30, 16 times 2 32, 17 times 1 17, 18 times 2 36, and last but not least is 19 times 2 which is 38. Now sum of fx yote ukizi add up itakupa ngapi? 33 plus 24 plus 26 plus 56 plus 30 plus 32 plus 17 plus 36 plus 38 itakupa 292. Sawa. Now to get the mean, obviously take 292 divide by 20. Sum of fx over sum of f. So 292 divided by 20 itakupa 14.6. Sawa. So yeah, that is your answer. Model mark. Model mark is the one that has the largest frequency, yani ile ambayo patikana sana. Ukiona sasa ile ambayo patikana sana ni 14, so iko na frequency kubwa ipatikana mara 4, and therefore your model mark is 14. The last question, a bag contains 3 white balls, 5 black balls, and 2 yellow balls. If a ball is picked from the bag at random, find the probability of picking a yellow ball. So, a yellow ball, which is 2. The answer to you at the total balls. Total is equal to 3 plus 5 plus 2. That gives you 10. And now to find the probability of picking a yellow ball, so you take 2 out of the total, which is 2 out of 10. Simplify it. It's going to be 1 over 5. A ball that is not white. A ball that is not white, ni easy hapa. The black ones and the yellow ones. And the total for the black and yellow is 5 plus 2, which is 7. And therefore the probability is supposed to be 7 over 10. And khalas, that is the answer. So again, don't forget to subscribe, follow for more, and again, always follow for more. So this is my number in case you need online tuition classes. Then contact me through this number. It's 1,500 shillings. We teach integrated science and maths, and also sometimes free technical studies. The days are just Thursday, maybe Sunday. So again, kindly contact me in case you need one, and don't have much to say. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.